Well, I'm at the Pickett's Mill battlefield, and I'm hiking the red, white, and blue trail down to where the battle took place. Right now, I'm approaching the ravine where a lot of the fighting took place. This was a humiliating loss for the Union Army. During this battle, it's estimated that the Union Army lost about 1,600 men, and the Confederate Army lost less than 500. All right, once again, you see the red, white, and blue trail here. And here the ravine has gotten extremely steep. Can you imagine charging from down there up that ravine to the Confederate troops under fire? Not a good plan, if you ask me. All right, here's the first marker, and you can see all the units around the ravine. And you can see it's very deep and very steep. Once again, not a good plan to attack up a ravine of this nature. You can pause the video if you want to read the marker. Well, now to continue down the trail. Let's see what else we find. Well, the downhill portion of the trail is over. Now it's uphill. Around the battlefield we go, and uphill. All right, the red, white, and blue trail has come to an end, and now the white trail heads back to the visitor center on an easier path, and the red and the blue continue. And it's a much wider road, but that's the one I'm going to take. So onward across the battlefield. All right, now walking down the red and blue trail only, you can see the trail has gotten considerably wider, and it's not quite as rocky and not as many roots as the other trail. But we're going to continue down the trail and see what we see. Okay, the wide trail has come to an end, and we can see that the red and the blue trail now take a turn. And as we're walking through the woods here, notice that there's been some kind of a brush fire, because you can see on the trees where it's burned, and there's stuff on the ground from a fire. Along the red and blue trail, find this open little pasture here among all the trees. Don't know what it's about, but it's different and sunnier. All right, back on the trail, and now we're going downhill once again, which is a little bit easier. Come down the path, and here's a little stream with running water in it. A little bit wider than what we've seen before. Now we turn, and the path kind of switches back, and we follow it over a bridge up here. And it's clearly marked red and blue strip, and over the bridge we go. And back down the other side. So far I haven't seen many markers on this trail, but the scenery's been great. It's a really nice hiking trail through the woods. So far, I'd recommend it for the trail itself. The next marker on the trail is the site of Pickett's Mill. This is the mill that gives the battle its name. Before the battle took place, the Picketts had evacuated the area, and when the Union soldiers came through, they burnt down the mill and destroyed the dam to lower the water level in the stream so they could cross it. After the war, the grist mill was never rebuilt. So now it's time to head down the trail a little further. At the visitor center, they told us to look out for the biggest little waterfall. And from the map, this looks like we found it. I don't think this is much to get excited about, but whatever. As you're walking this trail, watch out. There's poison ivy alongside of it. You see, I braved the dangers of poison ivy on the trail to bring you battlefield videos. I hope you enjoy it. Here, where the trail turns back on the corner of the red trail, this is the only place we've seen on the battlefield that looks like they actually dug earthworks. And you can see them just back there. Now, we're not supposed to go climb on those things. All right, still on the red trail, and I come across a place that looks like more earthworks, because this just doesn't quite seem like a natural formation. Right where these trenches seem to end, we have run into the purple trail that we decided not to go down, and we have reconnected with the rest of the red trail here. So let's continue on. The thing is, if you take the purple trail, you're going to miss most of what looks like the only trenches on the battlefield. So I highly recommend hiking a little further and skipping the purple trail. It's worth it. As we got closer to the visitor center, the red and blue trails came back together again, and now we are back at the visitor center. You can see the visitor center right there, and you can see the red, white, and blue trail goes right down there. So we have hiked the battlefield. That was fun. Decided to walk to the log cabin since it's open today, and found a marker on the white trail that at this point they set up a 12-pound howitzer during the battle. This is the point where they set up the 12-pound howitzer so it would have a view of the field. Well, I've hiked up this Civil War road along the modern road, and here is the cabin. And it's open today, so let's go inside.
You go and find, like, you can go out and, like, look for food and make a home cook. You can make whatever you want.
But you also still have to be very careful about what you pick, because some stuff that looks
poisonous.
Behind the cabin, they have a couple of outbuildings. And of course, one of the outbuildings is the outhouse. What would a log cabin be without its own outhouse? And then here is another storage building. They have a little museum here. They have different types of projectiles and a painting of the battle. And here is an eagle from the flagstaff. And this cannon right here was an original cannon used during the battle. So that's quite interesting. They have several maps explaining the battle in the museum, and another cannon. And what's in somebody's knapsack in here. And of course, weapons, and a display of how trenches are built. They have some items found on the battlefield here, and pictures of the dead and the burials. And then a display of a Union soldier. And more items found in the area. And a spinning wheel. And here's the mill where the battle gets its name, and a couple of millstones. Well, I've hiked the entire battlefield and I've seen the museum. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, see ya.